This is a story of how a kid from the projects who was working as a janitor at a hospital ended up training Harvard Radiologists, Harvard Medical School radiologists. So this story starts one summer in between the year I took off from college and the year I reapplied to get back into college. It was a summer where I had seen some friends go off to prison. I saw some other friends or acquaintances go off to heaven or hell. We may never know. But in any case, I was looking for a job that would allow me to go to school during the day and, work at night to defray some of the costs of tuition. My parents told me they are not paying my tuition, but the compromise was I didn't have to pay room and board to live at home. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. Got a job at the hospital. It was 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the evening, working for Mass General Hospital in the laboratories in Charlestown, building 149 at the Navy Yard. And so in any case, the job entailed, as you'd expect, sweeping floors, mopping floors, cleaning the bathrooms. There was no patient interaction. It was a laboratory. So anyway, I did that for about a year or so, and then transferred up to another building that was within Charlestown, the Charlestown Clinic. It was about the same hours, and one of the great benefits was that Mass General had tuition reimbursement. So I was able to get reimbursed for some of my tuition, not all of it, but it absolutely helped. Well, fast forward a few years, I needed an internship as part of my senior year to wrap things up, and I went to the HR department, Mass General, and they said, hey, the radiology department is looking for someone to help with their training. So I said, hey, will they give me 10 hours a week that I need and so forth? And so they did, and it was a great experience. I mean, my job essentially was to bring the soda and cookies to the training rooms when classes were going on, typically orientation class for radiology. I did that for the rest of my senior year. And then as I started to look for, quote, a real job, I was approached by the manager of, the radiology quality management department. And she said, hey, we think you've been doing a great job. What do you think about joining our team? Now, I had another job that fell through, which is a story for another time with the state of Massachusetts. That job had fallen through. And so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take the job. Now, this job entailed suit and tie. This was years ago when everyone dressed really formally. And within, about a year or so, I was delivering orientation training. And then at this time, radiology was going from film to digital. So much like back in those days, cameras were going from film cameras to digital cameras. Same thing was happening in radiology. I mean, essentially you're taking pictures, but instead of developing film, it would be digital. So it would be available on computers. Well, they had nobody to train all the radiologists at Mass General. And it's over 90 radiologists when you take into account all the different departments and so forth. And I said, well, give me the software, give me a computer, and let me figure it out. And I figured it out. And so I put together like a 10-page manual, and I went literally radiology department by department and got every single radiologist to sit down with me and go through a training session. And I was sitting there one day, in my suit, and someone came up to me, and it was it was a doctor. And they come up to me and they wanted me to interpret some images for them. And I'm like, I'm not a radiologist. And they're like, oh, well, I see you sitting here all the time. I assumed you were a radiologist. And it struck me that, here I am, a kid from Charlestown, born in the projects, now sitting in Mass General Hospital, teaching Harvard-educated med students and, senior physicians who had been, they'd been working with film for years and years. And here I was teaching them how to interpret images online. And so it was quite interesting. And then at some point later on in that year, I did a presentation at a Harvard symposium, which was interesting. It was great, and gave me a sense of accomplishment. So that's how the kid from the projects went from being a janitor to educating Harvard doctors. I hope you enjoyed that story.